Hello and welcome to Treasure in Every Verse. I'm your host, author and Bible teacher Kevin Madison. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, friends, we're back and we're going to get right back into our study on the book of Revelation. And we're dealing with the seven churches. We're in the second chapter and we're on the second church, which is the church at Smyrna. So essentially, what God told them, hey, I know all about you. I know several things. So let's look at the first thing he told them. Say, hey, look, uh, I know this. Here's the introduction to myself. I'm the first and the last. I am God. There's none other besides me. And I was dead. I raised myself from the dead. So you know what I'm about to tell you, since I have authority to raise myself, I can do the same for you. Then he went on to say, hey, look, I know your works. I know the intent behind your service. So there's no fooling God, friends. There's no, I'm going to go do this, but knowing inside my mind that I have an alternative motive for why I'm doing what I'm doing for God. I want God to do something in return for me. And that's really why I'm doing it. That's just no. No. When you do that kind of stuff, friends, you get an earthly reward. What do you mean by earthly reward, Kevin? I simply mean if you try to manipulate God to get something, you may get that something, but when you get to heaven, you're going to say, hey, what about this servant? God's going to say, I rewarded you for that already. What a shame, because all of those works, according to the Bible, are going to burn. The judgment of believers have six components. One, it's called wood, hay, stubble. That's your first three. Those are combustible. So when we go through the fiery trial of our works, that stuff is going to burn up. That is the stuff that you did on the earth. What's going to live? The things that God knows about you. What is that? Your true intents. Listen, folks, this is why I tell you, be careful with this behavior stuff because the behavior comes from the inside. You can have alternative motives behind good behavior. People do it all the time. They smile in your face, but on the inside and in their mind, man, they're either shooting you, stabbing you, slapping you, kicking you, punching you, talking about you like a dog on the inside. But all you see is a smile, and you're never the wiser. But God is. I know your works. All right. Now, we got into this, the tribulation. They're going to be oppressed. They're going to have afflictions, anguish, distress. But due to their faithfulness, it has nothing to do with simple everyday life. Folks, can I tell you something? I really, I hate to go back to this, beat this dead horse, but I have to because it just drives me crazy. All right. Why? Because people need to understand this is the problem with Christians today. The illiteracy of the scriptures is a huge problem. They don't understand sin. You have this stuff called sin. Right? And this sin, according to the Bible, has consequences. All right? And there's no escaping this. All right? Today is called sow reaping. It's look, believer, non-believer, doesn't matter. Now, one sin from one man, Adam, is the source of all calamities. Did you hear what I just said? How many sins of Adam? One. Kevin, are you sure? No, 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 not Kevin. Am I sure? What did the Bible say? The Bible says that one sin of Adam subjected what? The earth to futility. Who said that? Kevin? No, I didn't say that. God said that. Now, let me go show it to you. And this is why you will never get rid of sickness. This is why you will never get rid of storms. This is why there are going to be droughts, there are going to be famine. This is what Jesus meant when he says you're going to have the poor with you always. This is exactly what happened. So if you're trying to make the world a better place, forget it. Forget it. Not only is it not going to get better, it's going to get exponentially worse. Why? Because right now, the futility is being restrained. All right. Quickly, Kevin, quickly. Watch the progression here. All right. So starting in verse right here. Right here. Something happened here. Starting in verse 15. All right. What happened? Remember the world is made up of three parts, right? Heaven, heavens, and the earth. Right here in verse 15, something happened right here. What happened? Futility came to it. Okay? Why? Because of this guy right here, where it's the Satan. Just call it Satan. Futility came to the heavens. It's unclean. God is going to destroy. There's nothing, listen, there's nothing about the heavens that is clean in the eyes of God. Nothing, friends. All right. Now, in the earth, something happened. What happened? That's your first form of futility. Well, actually, in the heavens of heavens, in the heaven, God did it himself. See, God had sin up there. No, God made the sacrifice of Jesus Christ there. So what was the sacrifice for? Is what God had predetermined and to allow. So because he predetermined to allow sin, heavens, heaven, earth. So who's responsible for this right? This is the world, friends. God. God is responsible for what happened here. Did God sin? Of course not. God is holy. God can't sin. But God allowed. He allowed it. Okay? Here, Satan, because of his rebellion in heaven, subjected this area to fertility. And guess what? When Adam sinned, Adam turned around and he subjected this part to fertility. Kevin, how in the world you know that? Hey, please, I got it out of the book. Let me show you. All right, let's walk through them all. I showed you verse 15. Here's where Satan did to the heavens. I showed you this right here. Well, I'm showing you this right here. Look, Adam did something. He heeded someone else. See, this is the whole problem with sin. Sin is when you give yourself over to someone else instead of God. That's it. That's it. Okay. He says, look, curse is the ground. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you remove the curse from the ground? With a prayer? No. Why not? Because God said I cursed it. And why did God do that? God did that on purpose. Listen, for your sake. He didn't say because of you. Adam, listen, it was for Adam. It was for his betterment. For his betterment. Listen, folks, if things would have remained the same, Adam wouldn't have known that there was consequences behind rebellion and sin and how ugly and wretched and horrible sin is. So God made it clear to him the reason why he's subjecting it to fertility. The only other option was to kill him. Until you shall eat of it. Now, what does that mean? That means you're not going to get comfortable doing it. Work is not going to be comfortable. Nothing you get out of the earth, whether it's from the atmosphere, whether it's from the ground, or whether it's from the water source, nothing you get from it, it's going to be any good for you. I don't care what kind of diet you have. It doesn't matter. Eventually, all that stuff, not eventually, all of it is under the curse. Yes, your medicine is under the curse. Your medical procedures are under a curse. The food you eat is under a curse. Everything, yes, is under a curse. And it's slowly but surely aiding in your death. And there's nothing you can do about it. Now, he says, here's what's going to happen, thorns and thistles. So this is where you start getting all the famine, all the poor, all the storms, all this stuff. That's where you're getting it from. You're not getting it from some stupid climate change. You're getting it from this right here, the curse. All right, enough.